I'd like to give you a historic analogy of what I'm talking about, of people who are really smart in one area, very gifted in one area or maybe several areas, and then really not smart and not gifted and in the remedial class of another area, okay? I'm going straight to Neville Chamberlain. Now, if you know who Neville Chamberlain is, good for you. If you don't, he was the Prime Minister of England when Czechoslovakia, the Sudetenland, was carved up, and without firing a shot, Hitler stole tens of thousands of square miles and left Czechoslovakia defenseless because Neville Chamberlain didn't have the smarts to see what was going on. And then he was Prime Minister when Poland fell. He was Prime Minister when France fell, and then Winston Churchill became the Prime Minister. Now, Neville Chamberlain was a very, very smart man. And he rose to the pinnacle of power in the known world at that time, all right? The Prime Minister of England in the 1930s was to the world what the American president is in the early 2000s, okay? The leader of the free world. But he refused to see, or didn't see, the facts. He thought he was smart. And he literally, because he had a good business mind, he recognized how important revenue was for the crown and for taxes and for the growth of British business. He didn't want to hem Hitler in when he could. Did you know that England and Germany were the biggest trading partners at that time with each other? Yeah. By the way, guess what the #1 export to Germany was from England? You ready? Scrap metal. The Germans did a return to sender with a few German words stamped on them a few years later. But what Churchill did not, or rather what Neville Chamberlain did not do, was he did not read Mein Kampf, my struggle, okay? He did not read Hitler's words. Didn't understand Hitler. Winston Churchill had understood Hitler. Winston Churchill, from the early 30s, from 33 on, through the prime ministers MacDonald, then Baldwin, and then Chamberlain. For those 3 successive prime ministers, Churchill raised the flag of warning and told people, Hitler is a mad dog. He is a madman. We must hem him in. We must wall him in, and if need be, we must destroy him. Because if not, all of Europe will be plunged into another world war. Okay? What do you think people said about him? He's a scaremonger. He's a warmonger. They said that he was crazy, that he was off his rocker. One person said that God gave him all these gifts, and then an angel said it's too many gifts that somebody should have, and the angel picked him up in his crib and shook him violently and mottled his brains, scrambled his brains. They mocked him. But guess what he was? He was right. He was right, and he was right because he studied Hitler. He understood Hitler, okay? If you want to understand Islam, for heaven's sake, for the sake of the Church of Christ in the world, don't study at the feet of Ben Affleck, all right? Don't study at the feet of Barack Hussein Obama. If you're going to study Islam, study Muhammad, study the founder. Study the 4 branches of Shari'ah Law. Read the Hadith. Understand who the first 4 caliphs were. Get a grip on the Islamic narrative centered in the person of Muhammad. All right? Yes, read the Koran as well. And then you'll have a far better clue than half of the poor misguided souls at the U.S. State Department who are driving America into oblivion as they try and seek the friendship of the peaceful religion of Islam.